Rachel and to listen to Pastor Contreras and Baltazar and see how you were reacting to things and think of 3 or 4 big points or kinds of summary that I thought we might try to take home with us. The first thing, and this draws very much from our conversation about ICE and local organization, is that democracy really depends upon things that are more fundamental than democracy itself. So democracy is a word that we use and maybe a bit overuse, but the idea of rule by the people is something inherently hard, is something inherently dramatic. The people have to want to rule. And why we want to rule is brought home by very basic things, which we've heard about. Very basic things like the body. Very basic things like children. Very basic things like dignity. Democracy is a way to have some kind of control, autonomy over those very fundamental things. And so when we say democracy, when we think about democracy, we have to remember its connection to those more fundamental things. And we have to remember that to talk about those more fundamental things, we need a moral language. The moral language has to be on our side. The other side tries to monopolize it. It thins it out, it skims it away, it abuses it. But you can't do democracy without a moral language. That's one thing that I'm going to take away from all of this. The second point that I was thinking about, that there was no good place to insert here, but I'm going to insert it now as a historian, is how we think about ICE, Chicago, America, in connection with what we know about the past. And some of these points came through, I think, already indirectly, but I'm going to try to make them directly. There is a long tradition of using undocumented people as a first step towards creating zones of statelessness, zones where the law doesn't apply. The Nazi regime in Germany, as almost nobody remembers, its first really large-scale act of oppression was the deportation in the autumn of 1938 of undocumented people, undocumented Jews. That was their first major action, and it was a step towards border zones and concentration camps, or as we prefer to call them, detention centers. So there is a history of this. There is also a history, as I alluded to before, of using the undocumented as a kind of exceptional case, as a justification for centralizing the police, which is what happened in Germany after 1938 too. Different kinds of police organizations